Hi, Tanya. I wanted to make this video for you. I hope you're doing well. I can't stop thinking about you and what you're going through, and I just want to be there for you and do whatever I can. So here's me trying to do what I can, and I love you very much. So I'm going to just do a really simple stretching class for you, and you can do this whenever you feel like you want to. So start seated. Now I always sit on a blanket or a pillow just so that I can keep my back, that natural curve in my low back there. And it feels like I can sit up taller when I have a little bit of support. You can also sit on a block if you're feeling really tight. And I have a couple of blocks with me. Blocks are just nice for arm extenders or whatever you need. And it's nice to have a wall, or maybe if you don't have a wall, close the table. And I don't know if you have a strap too. Straps are nice. Just for stretching, you can get a little more leverage. What I do is I fix it so that it's a pretty big loop. You might have one of those elastic strap bands too. That would work because you only need probably a loop that size. So let's just get started. So find a nice seat. And just close your eyes and just take a moment to center, feeling your body where it's at today. Feel your breath moving in and out. And just really take some time to notice your breath. So feel the coolness on the inhalation as it moves in through your nostrils, down your back of your throat into your lungs. And then feel the exhalation, how it feels warmer in those places. How your body expands and contracts as you breathe in and out. Feel your spine nice and long. And then especially the back of your neck, I want you to feel it nice and long, and then draw your chin back a little bit and lower your head so that your chin comes closer to your chest. So you're drawing it back, lengthening the back of your neck. And then slowly roll your head to the right. So your right ear by your right shoulder. Maybe even extend your left arm to the side and back a little bit. Just feel a nice stretch there on the side of your neck. And then roll the head back to the center with your head dropped forward, and then over to the other side. And maybe extend your right arm back. Feel a nice stretch in the side of your neck. Let's do that one more time. Back through the center and to the right side. And then back through the center, the left side. And then come back to the center with your head dropped. Feel the length in the back of your neck. Lift your chin and open your eyes. Good. Bring your arms up and then bring them down through heart center. Do that again. Breathe in, come up. Exhale, hands through heart center. One more time. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, hands through heart center. Good. Now bring your right hand to the right side, ground it down, and then stretch your left arm up and over. Keep both sits bones grounded. Your chest open, your right shoulder blade back. Feel a nice stretch. You can always use a block under this hand if it feels like it's too much, especially on that port. One more breath. And come on up and switch. The left hand down, keeping the chest open. The right shoulder blade back. Start to your left side. And let's do that one more time. First side. Feel the chest open, shoulders square to the front. One more breath. And then just slowly face that knee and bring the hand down and stretch over the knee just a little bit. Go where it feels like a good stretch. I always try and center my belly a little bit on that knee. And then come on back up. And we'll do that on the other side. Feel like you're rotated open first. Nice big stretch. And then slowly face that knee. Try and face the belly over the extended knee and fold. Always monitoring your breath. It makes the pose feel a little bit better. You can notice your sit bones grounded. Good, and come on up. Now you're going to inhale, stretch your arms up, twist to your right, and just bring your hands down. Don't try and crank yourself around with your hands. Just feel a nice long spine and a little twist. And of course, breathe. Every inhale, I like to think I'm tall and long. And every exhale, maybe I use my core muscles to twist a little bit. You'll have to decide how your core feels. And it may be just a twist like this, whatever works for you. Good. Inhale, bring both arms up. Exhale, twist to the other side. And just pause and take a breath there. I'm going to pause the recording. Sorry about that. I got a call that I had to take. So back to it. I want to do a few shoulder exercises now. So bring your arms out, roll your right arm open, your left arm closed, and then stretch, and then switch, stretch, switch, and stretch, switch, stretch. Come back to center, stretch your arms up, Bring your right hand to the middle of your back, left hand to the elbow, little stretch on the back of your arm, triceps. You don't have to pull, you just hold it, you feel it. Good, stretch the arms up and switch. Good. Stretch the arms up, bring the hands to the shoulders, and just keeping a long spine. Roll. And then switch. Crack, crack, crack. Good. And then stretch your arms back. Keep reaching the palms towards each other. Keep the nice long spine. Feel long side body, maybe interlace behind you. And stretch back. You can always use the belt. If that port prevents you, you can just bring your arms back and then just slightly pull apart. That gives you a little stretch and it keeps it safe. Good. One more breath. And then come on down off the pillow or blanket and take a child's pose. Stretch your toes long. Sit back. I like to bring knees wide, big toes together, and sit back. And then bring your hands wide so your palms are down. And see if you can bring your forehead down. And feel the hip creases move back in space. If this feels good and you want more stretch, just lift your right hand up, set it on top of the left hand. You feel a stretch in the side of the body. And then switch, right palm down, left hand on top. You can shift the hips to the left a little bit. And then come on up to all fours. Artie always helps me when I'm teaching yoga. Spread the weight to the finger mounds, fingertips, hands right under shoulders, knees right under hips. And starting with the tail, just kind of slowly curve to a cow pose. And you'll know what works for you. I just want you to be able to stretch out your spine a little bit. So starting with the tail, round all the way up. Last thing to do is tuck your chin a little bit, really round to cat. And just do that a few more times. I like to go super slow and just feel like you can move each vertebrae separately. And just feel the stretch that happens up and down. One more time. When I'm in cow, I like to feel the hands and the knees kind of pull towards each other. And then when I round to cat, I press the hands and the knees away from each other a little bit. Good. And then pause with a flat back and extend your right leg. And I don't want you to get too much into the core, but just think if I draw the rib cage back a little bit and keep it steady, then I can keep my hips square. Forward, so I'm not off the screen. And then go ahead and set that foot down, press through the ball of the foot so you can stretch through your calf a little bit. Don't get too aggressive. I just want you to feel a nice stretch, and then lift the foot up, bring it off to the side so the knee and the foot are pretty much in the same alignment. And then if that feels good, you can stretch back and forward. Keep a little baby bend in the knee. My foot is pointing straight ahead. And I want to try and keep weight on all parts of that foot. Keep the rib cage moving back. You can just pause there too. And then bend the knee and bring it in, and we'll switch sides. So extending the left knee, the left foot. You can point and flex a few times. Just check your core. You don't have to do this. If this is bothering your core, just set the foot down, stretch. You'll know what works for you at this point. Good. Bring the foot up and bring it off to the side. Set the bottom of the foot down. And then just see how it feels. Just always think of keeping a long spine. Good. And then bring the knee back in. And we're going to do some seated stretches. Yes, Artie, I know. Now this is one of my favorites. Bring your feet a little wider than hip distance. Flex the foot. Right hand off to the side, left hand to the little toe side. I think I showed you this when I was out there in Spokane. Tuck your chin, draw your sternum back, stretch out your shoulder and the side of the body. I'm just trying to get you to stretch everything. Now, if you want more stretch and want to add the leg stretch, you can lift the foot and then maybe even straighten the leg. Oh, I feel it in the back of the leg, in the whole side. Good. And then come on up and switch. Good. Draw the sternum back. Extend if you want. Take a few moments. Appreciate and feel. Good. And then from there, go ahead and take a wide stance. Sorry, Artie. And I always have to think, okay, do I need to inner spiral so that the kneecaps and toes point up? If I'm sitting on my little pillow. You can sit on a blanket, whatever you want. And then just think, okay, if I press my heels down, lengthen my spine, and then bend right at the hip creases, maybe I can fold forward a little bit. Couple breaths. Yes, Artie. You're making her feel better, aren't you? Good. Now come up just enough that you can walk your hand to the outside and inside of your leg, of the extended leg. So I'm on my right, you're on your left. Center the belly. And maybe you'll want to stretch deeper, hand to the outside of the shin or to the outside of the foot. You decide. This is called Upavista Konasana. Couple breaths. Come on up. Walk back to the middle. Just pause for a little stretch there. And then go ahead and switch sides. You have to come up enough that you can really feel like, okay, I can center. I can keep the weight in that opposite leg. Everything's square. And then maybe you decide to go deeper. I'm constantly trying to think sits bones back and apart. That helps me to lengthen my spine and not round the low back, put undue pressure. And go ahead and come back to center. And then come all the way up. I want you to just bend the right knee and think of your knee as a hinge. So close the knee and then either bring the foot on the inside of the knee like so, or on the inside of the leg like so. Or if you have more flexibility, you can try and get on the top of the foot so that the knee is still closed. This is called Janu Shirshasana. And just feel that. I have to keep my leg really active. And I want to keep both sit bones grounded. And then just do what you just did. Center your belly and stretch. Just adds a little different stretch to the pose. You still want to keep this leg inner spiraled. Sometimes it gets out. As you do the switch, it kind of comes out. Just feel that. Good. And then bring both hands to the inside and see if you can bring your elbow down and reach up and grab your big toe. And bring the other hand to the hip. And then you're just going to open up. Now, if this is not there, you can bring the elbow on top. And just a little side stretch again. This is the full pose where you open up. Pavrita Janu Shirshasana. Or this is good, this is fine, whatever works for you. Just enjoy a few breaths. And then come on back up. Extend that leg. Make sure it's inner spiraled. Close this knee, hinge it, and wherever it works for you to bring that foot. And then just take a moment. Feel it. I always have to really engage my foot and my leg and keep thinking sits bones grounded. And then I might face that leg and then stretch deeper. Whatever works. I want you to just go where it feels like a decent stretch. You don't want to overstretch, especially when you're going through what you're doing now. I did some research on neuropathy, and they did say that by stretching and keeping those parts active, especially your feet, that it might help the neuropathy because it sends more blood to those extremities. Good. Now bring both hands to the inside, and we'll do that revolved stretch. Don't have to bring the arm up. You can keep it here. You can extend it or bring it up and over. Deep stretch. And maybe you're just here. And that's okay too. Good. One more breath. And come on up. Good. Bring the soles of the feet together now. And here's what I like to do. This is a really hard stretch for me. So I like to, and I have weak bad ankles. So I like to bring my hands under my ankles so I can kind of lift up. And then I can use my forearms to stretch. And I think to myself, okay, I want to initiate this stretch from the core, so from the hips. And then I try and open wider. And maybe it just feels darn good like that with a long spine, or maybe you can fold over a little bit. As always, I like to stay on my blanket. One more breath. And then come on up. I'm going to have you come off your feet again. Find your blocks. Like I said, they're good arm extenders. I'm going to have you just step your right foot forward, hands on the blocks. You can always bring that knee back further. And so feel the right foot grounded. The knee, the hip, and the heel all line up on both sides. So feel that. Nice stretch here. Right hip crease draws back. I always hug heel to knee, knee to heel. And then you can bring your hands up here if that works for you, or just stay here. Maybe stretch a little deeper. Just stay with your breath, or it feels like a good stretch. Good. And then slowly start to lift the hips up and back and walk your blocks back. Flex your foot to straighten the right leg. Might have to move your heel forward a little bit. Again, heel, kneecap, sits bone, all in the same line on both feet. Keep a little baby bend in the knee. Press the heel down. Stretch the hamstring. You can always fold forward if you want more stretch. You don't have to use the blocks if you're flexible, more flexible too. This gives you a little hamstring stretch without too much stress on your core. Good, and then you can always try and stretch the toes. So lift the toes apart, try and extend them apart, and then stretch the foot straight. Feels like a big stretch for me in my ankle. Good, and then slowly bend the knee, walk the blocks back forward, and we'll switch sides. It's always a little tricky switching, so you might have to sit first, put that foot forward, feel the stretch, make sure you're in a good line. If you want to, you can bring hands to knee to feel the stretch. That's too much work on your core, then just stay on the block. And you can bring them to the higher height too, so that you can get more stretch. Hug knee to heel, heel to knee. Couple breaths. And then straighten the leg, stretch back, runner's lunge. Flex the foot, baby bend in the knee. Everything in alignment. Lengthen out and maybe fold deeper. You don't have to. And then you can always stretch the toes. You don't have to do that either. I like to feel that stretch on the top of my foot too, but you have to get the leg really engaged first. And then that feels like a nice stretch. Good, and then bend back into the front knee. And bring that knee back. And just take a child's pose for a moment. And then come on up to all fours. Curl your toes under. This is where, if you start to get the neuropathy, this might help a little bit, but you're going to have to decide how far you want to go. So keeping the toes curled under, just walk your hands back, and maybe you'll sit on your heels. This is a really deep stretch in your feet. You can even massage your feet when you're doing this. I like to do that. It's really good for plantar fasciitis too. I like to just really rub the arches. If it's too much, you stay here, or maybe even here. Good, and then come forward again and go the opposite way. So stretch the toes long. And then again, you decide, this is an ankle stretch. I like to think of pressing all 10 toes down and then sitting back. So a really deep ankle stretch, but again, stretches the feet, especially if you're using the toes. They said that online anyway, that just using those parts that are feeling neuropathy helps send more blood supply there. So stay as long as you'd like. And then come on forward. I'm going to have you come up to standing. Let's see, I'm probably going to be totally off the, I guess you can see my legs. And I'm going to come by a wall or a countertop so that you can hang on. And you don't have to. You can just stand without it if you're feeling balanced today. But, you know, sometimes you get to feeling a little unbalanced. So just with one hand on the wall, I'm going to have you bring your leg back and down. And just do that 5 times. Back and down. 3, 4. Notice how I flex my foot. Now hold it, point, and flex. I want you to feel your glute working, your hamstring working, and release. Good, now this time I'm going to have you lift it forward and down. Forward and down. You want to keep working the hamstrings, the quads, hip flexors. 4, 5, hold, point, flex, point, flex, point, flex. Bring it back behind you. See if you can grab the foot, bring knee beside knee, and get a little quad stretch in now, instead of a quad strengthener. Good, release the foot, hold it back, and I want you to just lift to tippy toes on the opposite foot. 2, 3, 4, 5. Good, and release, and then switch sides. So find a good spot. You don't, like I said, you don't have to use the wall. I just am showing it that way because I feel like it's a little safer for you right now. Bend, release, bend, flex, and release. 3, feel the quads really working. 4, 5, and hold, point, flex, point, flex. Good, knee forward. 2, 3, 4, 5, point, flex, point, flex. Bring it back, find the top of the knee or the ankle, the foot, whatever works for you. Knee beside knee. Lift the arch on the standing foot. You feel like your legs engaged. Good. Release the foot. Keep it lifted. Toes pointing down. And then 5 times lift. Tippy toes down. 2, 3, 4, 5, and release. Good. That's enough. Enough on the legs. That's a really kind of a strengthening and stretching. come back down to a seated position. And I wanted to show you a quad strengthening exercise that I teach sometimes. You can use a block or you can use a blanket under. And I'm putting this right kind of under my knee, but more on the top side. And then you flex the foot and just strengthen those quad muscles and extend it. And then just keep doing that. And I want you to just notice, are you using all the quads evenly? This is something I give to older people just to strengthen their quads because, you know, as we age, we can't lift our knees as high. And I want you to keep that strength that you've built up from all your mountain climbing and all the other stuff you've done. So if you like this, you can do it. And then you just switch, make sure. You'll be surprised. Maybe you'll notice that you're not using the quads evenly. It's just kind of an exercise. It seems super, super easy, but you can learn a lot about your muscles and your body by doing things like this. Good. And you can do that for as long as you want. Now I'm going to have you go ahead and come to your back. So just lay down, arms in cactus, feet flat. Bring your right ankle over your left. Again, I try and think, do I have a little curve in my low back? I like to keep that. I flex the foot, the right foot, and then I think long spine helps me to open my knee. Now, if that feels good like that, just stay there. If you want more stretch, you can lift up, interlace behind, and then lay back down and see if you can feel more stretch. Or if that's not enough, you can interlace in front of the shin. You get to decide what your poison is today. Just a little hip opener. Laying on your back kind of takes a little stress off of your core. And of course, I think we worked on this one when we were there. You can always do the pigeon prep pose too, like this, if you want to stretch your hips in a more active core way. But today, I'm just going to have you do it on your back and switch sides. Left foot over right. Flex the foot, long, active spine. And one side's always different. If you want more stretch, interlace, press, keep the curve. If you want even more, in front of the shin. Few breaths. And then release. Bring your feet nice and wide on the mat. Arms in cactus again. And then just do windshield wipers. So both knees to the right and then up and over to the left. It should be a really calming pose. And then I'm going to have you pause, locate your belt, and bring the belt over your right foot. And I like to bring it kind of right in the middle of the arch so that I can kind of pull down and just grab a hold. Your left knee is bent, but then you can see, you know, where do I need to have this leg so I can extend the left leg long and keep that grounded and still get a nice stretch. Good. And then just kind of give a little pressure down. Bring your left arm off to the side and just hold it with the right hand. And then keeping this left leg grounded, just allow the leg to come off to the right side. So the left hand is grounding you, the left leg is grounding you. You're just feeling a little more open in the hip. I like to keep a little baby bend in the knee and keep the foot super active. One more breath. And then bring the leg back up. Switch hands. So you're grabbing with your left hand, right arm out to the side, or either cactus or T. And this is going to be very subtle. You're going to keep this right hip grounded. You're going to feel it in your IT band. You're just going to bring it across a little bit. So you feel like, oh, there's my IT band. Feels kind of achy, really. That's the stretch. And I know you've had IT band issues in the past. Now, once you get that stretched out, now go ahead and roll, keep your right shoulder down. Go ahead and roll to your left hip and bring your leg off to the side. And if you want to, all the way down. I'm running up against the wall. It feels like a really nice hip stretch there. Take a few breaths. Allow gravity to do most of the work. You can put a block underneath your foot too if it's too deep, letting it come all the way down, or you can just hold it. And then come on out. This is my tricky thing. You're just gonna hold it there and reach up with your left foot, and might have to switch. So start with the right knee bent, foot flat. Extend the leg. Holding it with just the left hand now, keeping this right leg active and grounded. Bring it off to the left side. Just go where it feels like a good stretch. My legs don't open all the way this way. I always have to think, ground here and ground here. Inner thigh stretch. Good. Come on back to center, switch hands. And just keeping that left thigh grounded, keeping them square, just bring it off. It's probably about 12 inches or so for me, and I feel really deep stretch in my IT band. It's like, hoo, 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 hoo. Achiness. Left arm's grounding me, right leg still grounded. Good, and then go ahead and roll all the way to your right hip, keeping the left shoulder grounded for that stretch. One more breath. Come on back up to center. Remove the belt and stretch out for Shavasana. Do you want to do any other calming poses like Baddha Konasana? Sometimes people like to do Shavasana in Baddha Konasana, but I want you to feel super relaxed, like you don't have to hold anything. I like to bring my arms a little bit away from my body so that I can get the palms facing up and the shoulder blades underneath me. And then I just consciously maybe shake my legs a little bit, let your feet fall open. And once again, focus in on your breath. And this time, with each inhale, you're thinking, where am I holding tension? And then with each exhale, release tension somewhere. Notice tension in your face, in your jaw, in your neck. Just let it go with the exhale. Release tension in your shoulders. And in your right arm, the bicep, the tricep, elbow, forearm, wrist, thumb, pointer finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky. And then in your left arm, feel each finger relax. Relax your chest, your belly, your whole spine and back. Feel each hip. And there's so many muscles and ligaments where the leg attaches to your pelvis. Just consciously go around and relax each one all the way around. Relax your quads, your hamstrings, your knees, calves, ankles, heels, arches, toes. And then just scan from head to toe one more time. Relaxing any, letting go of any tension that you find. I want you to stay there. I'm going to read you a little excerpt from Marianne Williamson's book, A Year of Miracles. It's my favorite one. And then you can stay in Shavasana as long as you'd like. Whatever happens in my life today, I know it is a part of my journey. If I'm happy, I will not take my happiness for granted. If I'm sad, I will remember that times will change. If there is conflict, I will pray for a miracle. If there is fear, I will pour forth my love. Every moment is a part of a divine curriculum, and I do not wish to avoid its lessons. I open my heart today to the fullness of existence, praying to receive its blessings, no matter what they are. And I'm going to sign off, and please know that I love you, and I'm with you, and I'm here for you, and however I can help. And I bow to the beauty and the grace within you. Namaste. Please stay as long as you'd like in Shavasana.